We all love a good formula, don't we? You got to do this, and then 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 you're good, right? Fellowship. What does that even mean to you?
Fellowship is like coming together and just being with one another and connecting and being present with one another and building relationship.
Yeah. And we can do that with God. We can do that with others. I told Mariah this already. I had an incident happen last week where I was, because I've been listening to episodes, podcasts on dating and reading books on dating. And so I listened to I listened to this episode on YouTube from this dating coach, and he was talking about masculine and feminine polarity and all this stuff. And I took his advice under advisement, and I started implementing what he was coaching into. And 2 days later, the guy that I'm dating is really upset because out of nowhere, I just stopped calling him because the guy was like, "Don't ever call a man." I'm like, maybe I'm calling him too much. Maybe I just need to wait, like let him call me. And I'm kind of like, for our friend who's listening, just to give you a little bit of understanding of Tanya, like, I'm an experiential learner. So I just try things. I'm like, "Ooh, let's try that and see how that works. Oh, let's try that and see how that works. So I'm like, let me try this on for size and see how it feels. So I went 2 days without initiating any contact with the guy that I'm dating. And then he got really upset because I hadn't initiated any contact. And I was like, he's like, "Do you not care as much? Like, what is going on?" And I was like, "No." And then finally I told him, I'm like, "I listened to a YouTube video and the guy said, 'Don't call the man.'" And the guy that I'm dating starts laughing at me, not in a bad way, but like, "Oh, like, now this makes sense. Like, I understand where this is coming from now." And he's like, "So you're going to listen to some random guy on a YouTube channel instead of coming to me and
Mm,
talking to me and trusting me? Like, I'm telling you, you have access to me. You can call me, you can text me, you can just randomly show up at my house. I'm
yeah,
telling you, you have access, but you're going to listen to the rando stranger on YouTube over me?" And
right.
how often do we do that in our lives?
Mhm.
How often do we do that in our lives spiritually, where we're listening to an author, we're listening to a preacher, we're listening to a podcast, giving us some type of spiritual formula instead of maybe taking that information and then going to the person that we're in relationship with, which this is God, and going, "God, what do you think about this?"
Yeah.
Right? Or for me, I'm taking advice on dating, and instead of running to the person I'm dating and saying, "What do you think about this? Let's talk about this. What works for us?" I'm just making an executive decision on both of our behalf and going, "Oh, I'm going to try this." And then his feelings are getting hurt because he's like, "Where did she go? Why did she stop? Did
Yeah.
she losing interest? What's happening here?"
Mm,
Right? Or we do that with parenting. Right? Like, I was talking to my friend at the yoga studio. She teaches yoga. I'd love to have her on our podcast one day. And she just had a child. And I asked her on Monday, I said, "How do you navigate all of the opposing information out there? Like, there are Instagram influencers that are telling you to do A, and then there's Instagram influencers telling you to do Z, and they're both in complete opposition of each other. How are you
yeah.
navigating that?" And she's like, "I'm trying really hard to just get to know my daughter,
Yeah. Literally.
not do what people are telling me my daughter needs, but learn my daughter and learn from my daughter. What does my daughter actually need?" That's choosing fellowship over formula,
Yeah.
right? Marriage advice. We get all this advice. If you're married, you're reading the marriage books, you're listening to the marriage podcasts, right? And you're implementing all of these formulas into your marriage, and maybe you're not getting the results that you want to get. But are you studying your husband?
Yeah.
Are you willing to have those vulnerable, intimate conversations with your spouse? Like, that's a lot harder to do than just go to something outside of ourselves, get a formula, and integrate it. Because
Yeah.
the other one fellowship requires vulnerability and intimacy. And a lot of
Mhm.
us don't know how to show up that way, and everything in our bodies, because of past trauma, because of all this stuff. A lot of things in our bodies kind of come up and we don't want to do that. I don't want to risk getting hurt. Let me go find the solution and then
Yeah.
try to provide the solution here. So The other title we could give this podcast would be performance over presence.
Performance over presence. Mm,
What do you hear when I
yeah.
say that?
When I hear that, I think of like me personally, I think of people faking or pretending or like putting on a performance over presence, but I think it definitely could relate to what we're talking about, but I also think I like formula over crap, what was it? Formula over well, formula or fellowship. Um versus just having that relational fellowship with one another. So I like that title better. I feel like it relates a lot more to what we're talking about. Not that what you just said doesn't, but I like that one better. So
But
performance over.
performance over presence is exactly what I was just talking about with my friend from the yoga studio, where she's saying, "I'm being told how to perform as a mom, but I'm choosing to
Um
just be present with my daughter and learn my
I
daughter."
see. I see. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that
I'm
makes
being
sense.
taught how to perform as a Christian instead of I'm practicing being present with God,
Right.
right?
Right.
I'm being told how to perform as a wife instead of I'm practicing being present with my husband.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Right? So I think all 3 I'm not really putting these on the table for us to decide right now which
Yeah.
one we're gonna choose. I'm more presenting them because different things will reverberate differently with the woman who's listening, and some
Right.
of you are really gonna resonate with when obedience replaces intimacy, right?
Yeah.
Because to obedience over intimacy is tell me what to do and I'll do it,
Yeah.
whereas intimacy is getting into the wrestle with God. Being
Yeah.
honest with God, messing up, coming to Him, like, and working out the intimacy with God.
Yeah.
So I feel like we live in a time where we have a lot of pressure on ourselves for those of us who call ourselves Christians that we want to do the right thing. And we can be trying to do the right thing and still feel very distant from God.